Update. We can't have her living here anymore, my stepmom said after manipulating everyone. I was unstable. I left that night. A week later, they received eviction papers. Final part. My heart pounded so hard as I hit send that I could feel it in my fingertips. I didn't know what was going to happen next, but I knew it couldn't be worse than what I had already lived through. Update 2. I waited for the explosion. It came almost immediately. First, a call that I let go to voicemail, then a barrage of texts from Dad that oscillated between confusion, denial, and guilt-tripping. What are you talking about? The first one read: "This isn't funny, Christina. Please call me back. We need to talk about this. You can't just throw your family out on the street. After everything I've done for you, this is how you repay me." I didn't respond to any of them. I couldn't. I knew if I heard his voice, if I engaged in any kind of back and forth, I might weaken, might start to doubt myself again. So I silenced my phone and tried to focus on my homework, though the words on the page seemed to blur together. Then came a text from an unknown number: "Tina. You ungrateful little shit. Your father is in tears. Is that what you wanted? To hurt him more than you already have?" That one I almost responded to, my thumbs hovering over the keyboard as I composed and deleted a dozen different replies. In the end, I just blocked the number. This wasn't about hurting Dad. It was about reclaiming what was mine, what Mom had intended for me to have. The next morning as I was leaving for class, I found Luke waiting by my car. He looked smaller somehow, less confident without Tina and Dad backing him up. "You can't do this," he said, his voice lacking its usual edge. "Where are we supposed to go?" I felt a twinge of guilt. Luke, for all his faults, was still just a kid caught in the middle of adult problems. But then I remembered how he'd lied about me, how he'd been a willing participant in Tina's campaign to drive me out. "That's not my problem," I said, moving past him to unlock my car. "You have a week. I suggest you start packing." He followed me, grabbing my arm. "What if I told everyone the truth that I lied that night at dinner? Would you let us stay then?" I stared at him, momentarily stunned by the admission. Part of me wanted to say yes, to use this as leverage to clear my name, but another part knew it wouldn't change anything. Tina would just find another way to twist the narrative to make me the villain. "It's too late for that," I said finally, gently removing his hand from my arm. "The house is mine. It always was. That's the only truth that matters now." As I drove away, I caught sight of him in my rearview mirror standing alone in the street. For a moment, I almost felt sorry for him. Then I remembered the look on his face that night at dinner, the calculated malice in his eyes as he told his lie, and any sympathy I might have felt evaporated. A week passed by, both excruciatingly slowly and in a blur. I immersed myself in work and school, trying not to think about what was happening at the house, my house. I'd given the eviction notice to my lawyer, who served it officially. Dad had called Jackie hysterical, but she'd stood firm, telling him that this was between him and me. The day of the eviction, I couldn't concentrate on anything. I kept checking my phone, half expecting another barrage of texts from Dad, but there was nothing. The silence was almost worse than the anger had been. It was my lawyer who called me later that afternoon. "They're gone," she said simply. "The locksmith is changing the locks now. Do you want to come see the property?" The property.